Hi, today I am checking out case files behind closed doors.
All right, we are live and the video is recording. Now, we have got ourselves a pretty wild case on our hands. But first things first, let's do a quick refresher before we dive in. As always, the interviews will be streamed live via the monitor that you're looking at right now. Once the interviews end, you'll be able to access all of the previous recordings on the playback monitor that's to your left. Now, keep in mind that you will be getting two different camera angles in your feed. Camera A and Camera B. Feel free to switch between the two as you see fit. And last but not least, don't overlook the evidence available to you in the case files. I'm sure that you'll need to reference those at some point. Okay, so the case. We've got Daniel Murphy, age 49, works as a financial planner. He was shot and killed in his home with a .38 caliber handgun that's registered to him. Now, according to the medical examiner, he died on September 12th. The exact time of death is not able to be determined because the body wasn't found until a few days after. Now, there are a few people of interest in this case. First up is Emma Richardson. She's Daniel's girlfriend who had also been living with him. Prior to Daniel's death, she had reported an incident of physical abuse that resulted in her right elbow being dislocated. The injury is verified. However, Daniel did deny all allegations regarding the abuse. Now, at first I was ready to remove her as a potential suspect due to the elbow injury, which would obviously make it pretty damn hard for her to fire a weapon. But as it turns out, she is actually left-handed, which means that she absolutely could have pulled that trigger. Now, next up is her ex-husband, Charles Humphries. There's nothing really notable regarding Charles's past, but he was seen entering Daniel's house the day of the murder. So, needless to say, he is definitely a person of interest. Now, I was also able to bring Charles and Emma's daughter, Rebecca, down to the station today. Now, there's nothing that really points to her being a suspect at this point in time, but she did live with her mom and Daniel, and she was aware of the abuse that her mom had reported. Now, last on our list is Daniel and Emma's neighbor, Janice Burkes. Janice served 9 years in prison for killing her husband, who had a very long history of domestic violence. Now, the main reason that I brought her down here today is that she was also seen entering Daniel's house the day of the murder. So yeah, that's two people that were seen entering Daniel's house the day that he was killed. All right, now that is the basic overview. Okay, you can dive in deeper with the case files or some of the security cam footage that we also subpoenaed. That footage is already loaded up for you on the playback monitor. All right, now let's figure out what the hell happened here. All right, I'm going to bring Emma in here first. Let's see what she has to say. All right, we'll see you in a few. All right, Emma, we are recording. Today is September 19th. I am Detective Martin Ruiz, badge number 7621, and with me here today is Emma Richardson. So Emma, can you please go ahead and spell your first and last name for me?
EMMARICHARDSON.
Thank you. And can you please acknowledge that this statement is being video and audio recorded and that you are consenting to this recording?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. And lastly, I just need you to acknowledge that we've already gone over your rights and that you are willfully making this statement.
Yes, that's also correct.
All right. Thank you, Emma. So, yeah, let's just keep it simple and start with you telling me where you were the day of Daniel's death.
I was staying at a motel.
And which motel would that be?
The Best Stay Motel on the southeast part of town.
Now, is there a reason that you didn't go to work that day?
I wasn't feeling well, so I decided to take a sick day.
And you work at Rose and Davis Financial Services, right?
Yes, I'm a junior account executive.
And Daniel, he works there as well. Is that also correct?
Yes, actually, he's the one who got me the job there.
And the two of you were romantic partners. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, do you mind maybe elaborating a little bit more on this relationship that you two had?
Sure. What exactly would you like to know?
Well, I guess we can start with the police report that you had filed on September 10th. Now, based on what I read, it seemed that this relationship that you two had was not that pleasant, was it?
No, but at least not lately anyway.
Now, you claimed that he had grabbed you pretty forcefully, too. I mean, so much so that he dislocated your right elbow. Is that right?
Yeah, but I don't want you to think that was a norm or anything.
So that's not his normal behavior?
No, it wasn't. We had been together for 6 months at least, and I moved in with him about a month ago. He had never once laid a finger on me the entire time or shown any warning signs.
So then what exactly happened on that day? I mean, why did he have this sudden change in behavior?
He was jealous of a client of ours that we met for dinner.
And who was the client?
Just a prospective client. His name was Jason Anderson.
Jason Anderson. All right, and what exactly happened with Jason?
Well, Daniel had to take a call, so he stepped outside. He was out there a good amount of time, maybe 15, 20 minutes. And during that time, Jason and I started talking. I mean, he talked a lot, and he was pretty funny, so we talked and had a laugh. That was all. Then when Daniel returned, I think he had the wrong impression. I mean, on the ride home, he kept questioning me about what we were talking about. He wanted to know why we were so happy, and he wanted to know if I found Jason attractive. He even accused me of flirting with some guys in the office from before. Honestly, I have no idea what he was talking about.
So has Daniel showed signs of jealousy like this in the past?
No, but I mean, there was never a situation like this before anyway.
You can continue.
Well, when we got home, he didn't seem to calm down at all. We were in the kitchen at the time, and he accused me of lying, and he said he didn't believe anything I had told him. I tried to de-escalate the situation by leaving, but then he blocked me with his body and backed me into a... And he grabbed me by the shoulders and forced me to tell him the truth. But what was I supposed to say? I already told him the truth. So then I pushed him off of me. And that's when he yanked me really hard by the arm and threw me to the floor. Oh my God, it hurt like hell. And then when I was on the ground, he kept yelling and screaming at me over and over. I mean, I can't even remember what he was saying.
Was he drinking that night?
No, the man hardly ever drank at all. I mean, I can't even remember the last time he had a drink.
Now, according to the police report, your daughter, Rebecca, she was there when this had all happened. Is that right?
Yes, she was upstairs in her room at the time, and she heard the arguing, so she came down to the kitchen to see what had happened. I mean, she asked me what happened, and I told her we had been in an argument. Then she asked me what I was doing on the floor, and I told her I had accidentally fallen.
So why did you lie to her?
I don't know. I was scared. I mean, It all happened so quickly, I couldn't even think straight.
And what happened after that?
Well, Daniel could see that I was really hurt, so he picked me up off the ground and took me to the hospital. On the ride there, he kept telling me how sorry he was, and he just kept apologizing over and over. He said he didn't know what got into him.
And you believed him?
Yes, I did.
Really?
It was a one-time thing. It was completely out of character. I didn't know what got into him. So yes, I did believe him.
All right, and what happened after that?
Well, he took me to the hospital and we checked in, and that's when I learned that my elbow was dislocated. Then Daniel left and Rebecca came to stay with me overnight. And then the next morning I had time to clear my mind, and I told Rebecca exactly what happened.
So you told her that he had actually hurt you?
Yeah, she wanted me to press charges with the police, but honestly, I was hesitant. I didn't want it to turn into a big thing.
But this was a big thing, was it not?
I don't know, maybe.
I mean, it was a big enough deal that you felt the need to file a police report, right?
But that was Rebecca's idea. But yes, I was released from the hospital. We stopped and got some pain medication for my arm. And then we went to the police and filed a report. Then we went to the motel, I checked in, and Rebecca left to stay with her dad.
And her dad, that's Charles, right?
Yes, Charles.
So was Charles aware of the assault that had happened?
Yes, I told him that night.
Was anyone else besides Charles and your daughter Rebecca aware of the assault?
The only other person was my neighbor, Janice. She must have heard the screaming because she texted to see if everything was okay. I wrote her back that same night and told her exactly what happened.
Now, are you and your neighbor really close? Because, and this could just be a me thing, but that seems kind of a strange thing to tell a neighbor.
Sure, somewhat, I guess. I mean, we look out for each other, as neighbors are supposed to.
Now, I'm wondering, do you think that maybe one of those three would have a reason to kill Daniel? I mean, considering they now know how abusive he can be, I mean, maybe that was enough to push them over, the limit to maybe take matters into their own hands?
Absolutely not.
But what about you? Was that enough of a reason for you to kill Daniel? Maybe make sure that he never lays a finger on you again?
Absolutely not, no. Like I said, it was a one-time thing. It wasn't that severe.
Wasn't that severe? Emma, I'm staring at you and you have a dislocated elbow. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, that is pretty damn severe.
Look, the guy got jealous, okay? I mean, he'd been under a lot of pressure at work and he was in a shitty mood. He made a really poor decision that he immediately regretted. Is it okay that he hurt my arm? Of course not. But we can't change the past. And I do believe he was truly sorry.
Okay. Fair enough. So Emma, is there anything else that you feel that I should know about this whole situation?
None that I can think of.
All right. We're going to take a a little break. Just ask that you just hang here for a bit, okay?
Okay.
All right.
All right, you saw the interview. You think she's being completely honest? I really can't say for sure. What I want to know from you is if you think she's telling the truth about how severe the abuse was. And I'm talking both physical and verbal. That's a major piece of this whole thing. Whether she's being honest or not will give us a decent idea on how to move forward with this investigation. So let's make sure we really judge this correctly. The right approach should get her to open up a bit more. I'll trust your judgment with that. You tell me, and that's how I'll proceed with her. No rush. Look over whatever you need to and call me back. All right, talk soon. Hey. Okay, yeah, I'm with you. It definitely feels like she's downplaying the abuse. The question is why. I'll push her on that. Let's see if we can squeeze more out of her. All right, give me a second. We'll get things back up and running.
This is a continuation with Emma Richardson. Now, Emma, I gotta say, I don't think that you were telling me the whole truth. I don't.
About what?
Well, about your relationship with Daniel, but more importantly, about the abuse.
Trophy 1 out of 16 unlocked. Truth Seeker 1.
I mean, look, you have a dislocated elbow. The guy put you in the hospital, and for what? Because he was jealous? Come on, Emma. You know that is not normal behavior. It's not. All right, that is pretty damn severe. Now, what I'm trying to wrap my head around is why are you covering for this guy? Why are you downplaying everything that happened to you? Look, Emma, it is okay, right? It is okay to talk to me. It is okay to tell me the truth. In fact, that is the easiest thing to do right now. So please, Emma, just tell me the truth.
Okay. It was severe, okay? It was very severe. You know, I thought I knew him. I was falling for him. I thought he was perfect. But looking back, I can see that the signs were there all along. I was just blinded by wanting to move on and find a new partner. But, you know, when he showed his true colors, not only did he hurt me, but he threatened to kill me and my daughter at gunpoint. Okay? At goddamn gunpoint.
Wait, I'm sorry. When did that happen?
The day after I got out of the hospital. I think it was a Monday.
Okay, can you tell me exactly what happened?
I stopped by the house that afternoon to pick up some of my stuff. I knew he'd be at work, so it was a good time to go. I was there maybe 5 minutes, and that's when he showed up. I I was in the middle of packing, and he could clearly see that I was leaving. This must have really pissed him off, because he immediately went to the bedroom closet and grabbed a gun. I mean, I was in shock. I didn't even know he had a gun. And then he threw me on the ground and pressed the gun really hard against my forehead. He kept yelling that the police were questioning him at work. Apparently, after I filed the reports, some cops were questioning people. They even questioned some of my neighbors, including Janice. Apparently, the higher-ups at work were really alarmed by all this, because they put him on immediate leave until this all got sorted out. That's why he got home early that day. This must have been really embarrassing for him, because he was really angry. He kept yelling that Rebecca and I needed to recant our story and to tell the cops that he never hurt me. I mean, he kept saying that he was acting in self-defense and that I pushed him. He was literally trying to make it seem like it was my fault. And then he made it a point to tell me that he was in control of my life. My job, my home, everything. And that he could take that away anytime he wanted. So then he told me that if we didn't tell the police his version of what happened, that he wouldn't think twice about putting a bullet in each of our heads.
Wow. Wow. So, Emma, why did you lie to me?
Because I thought you would see this as a clear motive for killing him, that's why.
And I get that. But, okay, but why in the situation that happened, why not in that moment? Why didn't you immediately go to the police? I mean, heck, you could have even filed a restraining order against him, Emma.
Because they didn't do shit the first time, that's why. I had already told them that he had physically assaulted me. I was literally in the hospital because of him. But did they protect me? Huh? Did they? I can answer that for you, detective. No, they didn't protect me. In fact, that son of a bitch threatened to kill me even after I went to them. So no, I didn't think it mattered. So don't get me started about a restraining order. You think a restraining order, some just like little piece of paper, would stop someone like him? Someone who had threatened to kill me? Give me a break.
All right, fair enough. So tell me what happened after he had threatened you.
He left. And I immediately gathered all my stuff and I left too.
Now there's a flaw here though, right? I mean, there should be security cam footage of Daniel coming in the house and leaving the house, right? During that time. I mean, we have footage of you, and we got footage of you and Janice, but we literally have absolutely no footage of Daniel during that time at all.
That's because he came in through the back. I mean, he didn't use the front door. It was like he was trying to catch me off guard or something.
And I'm going to assume that because you guys don't have a security camera in the back, then that means there's no record whatsoever of him coming in or out of the house. Does that sound right?
Correct.
Now, I'm also wondering, do you know why there would be no security cam footage from September 9th? I mean, the entire day, there's no footage. Now, that's the day that he assaulted you for the first time. Do you know why there would be no footage on that day?
I don't know. Maybe he deleted it.
That is certainly a possibility, yeah. All right. Well, look, Emma, assuming that everything you told me is the truth, right? I want you to know that everything, and I mean everything that has happened to you, none of that is your fault.
I know.
Good. And there is help if you need it, Emma, all right? There's shelters that I can connect you with if you don't want to stay at that motel. There are people that you can talk to. All right, we've got a lot of resources, Emma. All right, you do not have to go this alone.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, Emma, let's give you a break, okay? Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was a lot. If she's telling the truth, Daniel's got some pretty serious issues. It is weird that he would go through the back, though. I mean, it's possible, but considering how in the moment he probably was, it does strike me as odd. I don't know. There's a lot to process here. All right, we got to keep these interviews going. Let's see what more we can uncover here. I got her ex-husband, Charles, up next. Let's see what this guy's got to say. Hang tight. Bye.
All right, Charles, we are recording. Today is September 19th. I am Detective Martin Ruiz, badge number 7621. And with me here is Charles Humphreys. So, Charles, we'll just start with you spelling your first and last name for me.
Okay. CHARLES,
And can you please acknowledge that this statement is being video and audio recorded and that you are consenting to this recording?
Yes, I do.
And lastly, if you can please acknowledge that we have already gone over your rights and that you are willfully making this statement.
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you, Charles. So, Charles, let's just start with you telling me, why were you seen entering Daniel's house the day of his death?
Well, I was doing a favor for Emma, right? I went there to pick up some items that she had forgotten, right? She didn't want to enter that house again, so I went there for her.
And what sort of items were you picking up?
It was like some clothing and other personal items, right? I didn't sort through the bag, so I'm not 100% sure what may have been in it.
So you said bag, so you were there to pick up a bag of hers, is that right?
Correct, right. She put it by the front door in the entryway. I walked in, I grabbed the bag, and I left.
And Charles, you're a realtor, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So that means you get to pretty much set your own hours, right?
To an extent, sure.
Now, you didn't have any appointments or any meetings that morning?
That is correct.
So, did you see Daniel when you went inside the house?
No, I didn't. I didn't see his car in the driveway either, so I just assumed he wasn't home. But look, I didn't even go in the house. I just went in the entryway, I grabbed Emma's bag, and I left. That's it.
Now, are you aware that Daniel had been killed on that day and that his body was found inside that house?
I'm aware of it now, but at the time, no. I wasn't aware of it at the time.
So what do you know about Daniel's death?
I know that he was apparently shot and killed. I'm also aware it possibly could have been a suicide, that he took his own life.
Do you believe that? Do you believe that he took his own life?
Certainly seems like a possibility, yeah.
So how well did you actually know Daniel?
Not well at all. I mean, I mostly knew about him through Rebecca. Right? I only personally met him a few times. A few times that I did meet him in person, I mean, he seemed like a pretty cool guy, right? He was friendly and upbeat, you know, just a good all-around guy. It wasn't until much later that I learned about him abusing Emma. Needless to say, that changed my opinion of him real quick.
Yeah, I could imagine. So tell me about Emma. What is your relationship like with Emma?
Emma and I are on pretty good terms, all things considered. Right? Like, we were married for almost 20 years. You know, we had Rebecca. Everything was going really well. But, I mean, slowly things just didn't work out like we had hoped. So we got divorced about 2 years ago. I mean, it wasn't an ugly divorce or anything like that. But we both agreed that it wasn't working out, so we decided to call it quits. Right? And here we are.
So do you still stay in touch with her?
It's not like we're best friends or anything like that, but we have a daughter together. So, yeah, we are in touch from time to time.
And do you still care for her?
Not in a romantic way, no, but as a person and the mother of my child, yes, I absolutely do care about her.
So would you be willing to do anything for her?
What, like murder?
Yes, Charles, like murder.
No, of course not. Look, I would be willing to do almost anything for her because I still care about her. But murder, no, absolutely not.
So you're telling me that you did not kill Daniel when you went inside that house?
No, of course not. Look, I told you I didn't even see the guy, but if I did, I'm not going to kill him.
So what about Emma? You think that maybe Emma killed Daniel? I mean, she's got more reasons to kill him than anyone else.
No, Emma didn't kill Daniel. That's ridiculous.
And how can you be so sure about that?
Because she's not a killer. She's like the sweetest person I know.
Well, what if she maybe hired someone or got some help? You don't think that that's possible?
No, I don't think that's possible.
Well, look, Charles, the reality is that somebody killed Daniel, okay? That is a fact. Now, we know that Emma has been on the receiving end of his abuse, all right? Now, that has got to be scary as hell for her. Okay, now, Charles, I'm not saying that Emma killed Daniel, okay? But, Charles, we at least have to entertain the idea that maybe she wanted him dead. Now, I don't think that that's far-fetched at all. Hell, Charles, I have seen people killed for far less, all right? So you don't think that Emma maybe just wanted him dead? You don't think that that's possible?
Look, I have no doubts that she wanted this man out of her life. That's obvious. But to think Emma would wish death upon him or anybody else for that matter? No, I don't believe that. I do not believe that she wanted him dead. No.
You really don't?
No, I really don't.
All right. Charles, we're going to take a short break, all right? Just ask that you sit here for a bit and I'll be right back, all right?
Yeah, no worries.
All right, we got to hear his take on things. Now, the main thing I'm questioning at the moment is whether or not Emma is capable of either committing this murder or getting someone else to do it. She really does seem like the person that has the most to gain from Daniel's death. But her ex, he doesn't seem to think that she has that in her. I don't know. You think Charles is telling the truth? You think he really believes that Emma is incapable of going through with murder? Does he really believe that she had absolutely nothing to do with this? Again, we got to be careful with how we judge this. Pushing him in the wrong direction may not get us the info we need. I want to know what you think. I'll proceed based on that. So just give me a call when you know, and we'll go from there. All right? Bye. Yeah, I gotta say, I agree with you on this one. He does seem pretty sincere. All right, I'll continue the interview. We'll be back up in just a sec.
Trophy 2 out of 16 unlocked, Truth Seeker 2.
This is a continuation with Charles Humphreys. So Charles, I do think that you're being honest about Emma, all right? You really don't think she had anything to do with this, and I do believe you.
Well, that's good because that's honestly how I feel. And like I said before, she is not the kind of person to wish death upon anybody. She is by far the most caring person I've ever met.
So Charles, I hear you, okay? But since you didn't kill Daniel, and if Emma had nothing to do with this, well then, that means there must be somebody else, right? So, do you think that maybe Rebecca may have had some...
No, of course not. This has absolutely nothing to do with Rebecca.
Okay. Well then I guess that puts us back to square one then, doesn't it?
I guess so.
All right, well, Charles, that'll do for now, all right? Let's get you out of here for a bit.
Okay.
All right, that was pretty straightforward, I guess. You know, I didn't want to bring up the neighbor Janice as a suspect to him quite yet. I want to hear from Janice first. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll go get her and we'll get the next round going. Okay, bye.
All right, Janice, we are recording. Today is September 19th. I am Detective Martin Ruiz, badge number 7621, and with me here today is Janice Burkes. So Janice, let's please start with you spelling your first and last name for me.
JANICEBURKES.
And can you please acknowledge that this statement is being video and audio recorded and that you are consenting to that recording?
Yes, sir. I do consent.
And lastly, please acknowledge that we have already gone over your rights and that you are willfully making this statement.
Yes, sir. We've already gone over my rights.
Well, thank you, Janice. So let's just start with a little bit of context here. Now, you live next door to Daniel Murphy and his girlfriend, Emma Richardson. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And about how long have you lived at that residence?
Oh, I've lived there about 1.5 years, sir.
And prior to that, you had spent some time in prison. Is that right?
Yes, sir. 9 years.
And that was for murder, correct?
Yes, sir.
You mind telling me what happened?
Well, it's not a very complicated story. My husband at the time was very violent, very physical with me, and it had been going on a lot longer than I care to admit. One night, he beat me up pretty bad. Seemed like he was never going to stop. So, I stopped him. That's it.
And how is life treating you these days?
I can't complain, sir. I'm alive. I'm healthy. I got a steady job. Just trying to live life right. God's been good to me.
That's good. That's real good. So what is it that you do for work?
I work collections. I call people who owe money on behalf of various different companies.
And you do this from home?
Yes, sir. That's right.
Now, I don't mean to be rude or judgmental or anything like that, but I'm curious, how is it that you landed in that particular neighborhood? Because it seems like it would be a bit too pricey for someone with a job such as yours. Now, that is assuming that you do live alone.
Oh, yes, sir, I do live alone. That house belonged to my mother. She bought it about 20 years ago. She paid it off early. And when she died about 10 months ago, she left it to me.
Well, thank you for that explanation. That certainly makes sense. Now, I am curious, how well did you know Daniel and Emma?
Oh, I know Emma pretty well. Daniel, not so much. When I moved in about 1.5 years ago, Daniel had already been living there. They're pretty good neighbors. They're quiet. They stick to themselves. No parties or anything like that. I can't remember them ever having anyone over, in fact. Rebecca, their daughter, lives with them. She's pretty quiet too. She sticks to herself. But honestly, in general, the whole neighborhood's pretty quiet, so they're no exception.
So why is it that you got to know Emma more than Daniel?
Well, it seems like Daniel works very long hours, but Emma works 9 to 5, so I see her from time to time when I went on my usual walks, and we'd stop and chat for a bit. She was one of the few people in the neighborhood who didn't look at me funny, you know? I mean, it's a small town, word gets around fast, and I'm pretty sure most of my neighbors knew about my past. They were scared, they kept their distance, but Emma, she treated me like a normal person, and I really appreciated that. And I always felt like I should kind of look out for her too, I guess.
Now, what about Charles? What do you know about him?
Well, who's Charles?
So Charles, that's Charles Humphries. That is Emma's ex-husband.
Oh, that's right. I don't know much about him. I didn't ever meet him, and I don't remember Emma ever really talking about him. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, I don't know much about him.
So, given your relationship with Emma, I am assuming that you have a good explanation as to why you were seen entering and leaving their house the day that Daniel was killed?
Oh, yes, I do. The mail carrier had accidentally left some of their mail in my mailbox that day. We've had some trouble with porch pirates recently, so I thought I should just take it over. I didn't want to leave it on their doorstep or anything, so Emma had told me about the spare key to use in case of emergencies or whatever, so I just used the spare key. I opened the door, I dropped the mail off in the entryway, and I left.
Now, was Daniel home?
Oh, not to my knowledge. I mean, his car wasn't in the driveway. That's where he usually parks it. And I didn't see him in the house either.
Now, Janice, are you aware that Daniel had been shot and killed and that his body was found in that house?
Yes, officer. I was aware of that. The whole neighborhood was aware of that.
And so you didn't see him or his dead body when you went into that house to drop off that mail?
Oh, no. I mean, like I said, I just went in, dropped the mail off in the entryway, and then I left.
Janice, did you really go into that house to drop off mail?
Yes, officer, I really went into that house to drop off mail.
All right. Well, look, Janice, we are going to take a real short break. I ask that you just sit here for a second. I will be right back, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Okay, we've met the neighbor. I'm curious to know what you think about this Janice lady. You buy that story that she entered the house to drop off some mail? Let me know if you think she's lying, and I'll continue based on that. All right. Talk soon. Hey, so you don't buy that story, huh? Well, me neither. It's a bit too perfect. And, after reviewing that security footage again, her actions don't seem to match up at all. Let's see if we can find out the real reason she entered that house. I'll get the interviews back up in just a few.
Trophy 3 out of 16 unlocked, Truth Seeker 3.
This is a continuation with Janice BURKES. Now, Janice, according to you, the mail carrier had dropped off their mail at your mailbox by accident, right? And then you, I guess being the good Samaritan that you are, decided to bypass these potential porch pirates. So you then took that mail and you brought it directly into their home. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So Janice, what kind of mail was this?
If I remember correctly, it was just a few envelopes, I believe.
So just a few envelopes. So why the urgency to drop off just a few envelopes? You couldn't wait until they got home?
I guess I could have. I didn't really give it that much thought. I just saw that I had their mail and I thought I'd bring it over to them, that's all.
Janice, you are lying to me.
What do you mean, sir?
I mean that there is absolutely nothing that supports your statement whatsoever. Look, you having their mail is no reason to go inside of their home. You could have simply just held on to their mail, Janice. And please don't tell me that you were concerned with porch pirates, because porch pirates are looking for packages, okay? Things that have actual value. They're not just looking for regular mail. Now, Janice, if you're going to lie to me, come up with something like like there was a check in the mail or something like that, because then it would be a little bit more believable. Now, Janice, you are still on probation. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, do you think that lying to a detective who is trying to solve a murder case, do you think that is going to be helpful? Look, Janice, that is considered obstruction of justice, okay? Now, you are not a stupid person, okay? You're not. So we are going to try this again. Why were you seen entering their house the day that Daniel was killed?
All right. I heard a gunshot. I rushed over there to see if everything was okay. And when I entered the home, I looked around. That's when I saw Daniel lying there dead in the bedroom. I didn't know what to think, so I panicked and I just left.
So Janice, why did you lie about that?
Come on, sir. I went to prison for 9 years for killing my abusive husband. Then I'm seen leaving and entering a home where a man is killed, a man who is known to have physically abused his girlfriend. How do you think that looks?
Well, not very good, to be honest.
Not very good at all.
All right, so just to make sure that I get this right, so you heard a gunshot, you go enter the house, you see Daniel and he's dead, and you lie to protect yourself. Is that basically it?
Yeah, that's it.
So you're telling me that you did not kill Daniel?
I did not kill Daniel.
So Daniel was already killed when you had entered that house?
Yes.
And Janice, why should I believe you?
Because it's the truth.
The truth?
Yes, sir.
All right, we are going to put a pause on this for now, okay, Janice?
Well, that interview certainly adds a new dimension to this whole thing. That is, of course, if Janice is being honest about finding Daniel dead. I honestly don't know. At this point, who knows? All right, I'm going to bring in Rebecca Humphries, Emma and Charles's kid. Let's see if she can shed any more light on this case. All right, let me go get her. We'll be back up in just a sec. All right, bye.
All right, Rebecca, we are recording. Today is September 19th. I am Detective Martin Ruiz, badge number 7621. And with me here today is Rebecca Humphries. So, Rebecca, can you please spell your first and last name for me?
Yeah, first name is Rebecca. Last name Humphries, Humphiries.
Thank you, and can you please acknowledge that this statement is being video and audio recorded and that you consent to this recording?
Yes, I do.
And lastly, just acknowledge that we have already gone over your rights and that you are willfully making this statement.
Yes, I am.
All right, Rebecca, let's start with you telling me where you were at the day of Daniel's death.
Yeah, so that day I was over at my dad's house.
So you were at your dad's house, but you don't live with your dad, do you?
No, I don't, but I do stay with him sometimes.
And you were there the whole day?
Yeah, I don't really remember any reason to leave that day.
So can you remind me, how old are you?
I'm 20.
So you're 20.
Mm-hmm.
And you are a student at Fisham Community College, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So you didn't have any classes that day?
Well, I mean, yeah, I did, but I had a very important paper that was due for my intro to psych class the next day, so I decided to stay home and focus on that instead, since my other classes weren't important.
Now, your dad, he wasn't at home, right? He was at work?
Yeah, that's right. He usually doesn't get home until late in the evening.
So is there anyone that can corroborate that you were at your dad's house the whole day?
I mean, like, sort of. I work at the main coffee shop at the school, and I had texted one of my coworkers asking if he could cover my shift for that day.
So you didn't go to work that day either?
No, I didn't. Like I said, I wanted to focus on my paper.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question, and please be honest, okay? Please. Yeah. Do you think that either of your parents had something to do with Daniel's murder?
No, of course not.
Now, I'm not asking you if they killed him, just if they may have possibly had some involvement. Now, based on the history, you don't think that that's possible?
No, absolutely not. No, I know my parents. It's not possible.
Okay. So how long have you been living with Daniel and your mom?
We officially moved in like about a month ago or so, but my mom had practically been like living over there like 3 or 4 months before that.
And you were aware that there had been some domestic issues during that time between Daniel and your mom, correct?
Yeah.
Can you elaborate?
Well, first off, I want to like make sure that you know that the domestic issues, as you put it, weren't happening the whole time that I've been living there. It was kind of all recent, actually.
Sure. Gotcha. So yeah, please continue.
So, like, it's pretty straightforward, but I want to say, like, about a week and a half ago, I was in my room reading, and I heard some screaming and yelling and banging, and I went down to the kitchen, and I found my mom on the floor crying, and she was just obviously, like, in a lot of pain. And she was grabbing her right arm, and just her and Daniel had gotten into some sort of an argument, and he pushed her to the ground, like, pretty damn hard.
So did you see him push her to the ground?
No, I didn't, but it was pretty obvious that that's what had happened.
Now, is this the only incident that you were aware of?
As far as I know, yeah. That's as far as I'm aware.
Now, this incident landed your mom in the hospital. I mean, she has a dislocated elbow.
Yeah, I know, I'm aware. I know.
You don't think that maybe your mom would want to seek some sort of revenge?
No, my mom wouldn't seek revenge. Like, you do know that she's the one who filed the police report, right?
Yes, I am aware of that.
Okay, so why would she file a police report if she was planning on killing him? Like, she wanted the police to get involved. That's literally the whole reason why she went to the police in the first place. She wanted them to deal with it.
All right, well, then what about your dad?
What about him?
Well, it seems that he and your mom are still on pretty decent terms. I mean, all things considered. It seems that he still cares for her. You don't think that maybe he acted out of a need to protect her?
No, absolutely not.
How can you be so sure?
Because I know my dad. Like, that's not even close to the kind of person that he is. Like, he's not a murderer. Like, I don't even, like, I can't believe I even have to, like, say that to you.
Look, Rebecca, I know that this can be hard. Okay, I know that, but we have to think logically, right? Now, try to put your personal feelings aside as best as you can, all right? Now, do you really believe that your parents had nothing to do with Daniel's murder?
No, my parents had nothing to do with Daniel's murder. There's no way.
All right, fair enough. So look, we're going to take a short break, all right? Just going to ask that you sit here, and I'll be back in just a few, okay?
Okay.
All right, so there's still a lot to unpack here. But the main thing I really want to know right now is if you think she really believes her parents had nothing to do with Daniel's death. I mean, I know they're her parents and all, but the motivation is pretty easy to spot, especially when it comes to her mom. I just can't tell if she's being honest or if she's blowing smoke up our ass. Look it over and tell me what your read is on her. Let me know if you think she really believes they had nothing to do with it. We'll go from there. All right. Bye.
Trophy 4 out of
Hey.
16 unlocked.
So you
Truth
think she's
Seeker
being
4.
sincere? I can see that. She does seem to believe her parents weren't involved. Now, whether they were or not, that's a whole other story. All right, let me get back in there. Bye.
Okay, this is a continuation with Rebecca Humphries. So look, Rebecca, I do believe that you think your parents had nothing to do with Daniel's murder, okay? I do believe that.
Mm-hmm.
But look, we still cannot ignore the facts, okay? We can't. Now, are you aware that your dad was seen entering and leaving Daniel's house the day of the murder?
No, I didn't know that. I wasn't aware of that fact, no.
Yeah, the whole thing was caught on security cam.
Mm-hmm.
So now with this new information, does that change your perspective at all?
No, not at all. I mean, if my dad was seen entering the house that day, then I'm sure he has a perfectly good reason for it, but murder's definitely not the reason. It doesn't make any sense. It can't be.
All right, so Rebecca, look, so if your parents were not involved and you were at your dad's house the whole day, then you tell me, what is your theory on what happened to Daniel?
Look, I don't know. I don't know, okay? I really don't. What I do know is that Daniel wasn't this perfect guy that everybody seems to think that he was. I mean, he had two personalities. Sure, everybody saw the clean-cut business guy, but behind closed doors, it was a completely different story.
What do you mean?
I mean, he was mentally unstable, okay? He could be a real piece of shit, especially when he was drinking. Probably got really drunk, got all depressed, and then just shot himself. I mean, I could see that happening. Have you guys ever considered that maybe nobody actually killed Daniel?
Yes, Rebecca, of course we've considered that. We've considered all possibilities.
Okay, then, I really don't know what to tell you, because that's all I can think of. I don't know.
So there's nothing else that you feel that I should know?
No, not that I can think of, no.
All right, well then let's take a break. All right, you can step out of here for now, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we've heard from everyone that we brought here today. There's still lots of things that aren't adding up or that simply don't make any sense at all. And, most importantly, we still don't know exactly what happened to Daniel. I think it's time we turned up the heat. Start poking some holes. I'm going to get Emma back in here first for another round. Let's see what we can squeeze out of her. I'll be back in the interview room with her in just a sec. All right, bye.
All right, this is a continuation with Emma Richardson. Now, Emma, I've been giving some thought regarding your whereabouts on the day of Daniel's murder, and just to be clear, you were at the Best Day Motel the entire day, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So you didn't leave at all, not even to get food or anything like that?
Actually, I did leave the motel that morning. It was quick, though. I went to get breakfast at the diner across the street from the motel. I got the food to go, and then I went back to the motel and stayed there the rest of the day.
So around what time did you go to the diner?
It was early, probably around 7.
Around 7. So you did not leave the motel at all any time after getting that breakfast around 7 a.m.?
No, I did not.
Now, did you eat dinner?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so then how was it that you got your dinner that day?
Charles stopped by that evening to bring me dinner.
Oh, that's very kind of him.
Yes, it was.
So what time did he stop by?
I believe it was around 6-ish.
Around 6-ish. Now, did Charles bring you anything else?
Like what?
Like anything besides the dinner itself?
I don't think so.
And you're sure about that?
Yes, I'm sure.
All right, so I'm going to assume that if I were to stop by that diner and talk to some of the folks there, that someone who was working that morning would be able to verify that you were indeed there getting your breakfast around 7 a.m. Does that sound right?
I believe so, yes.
All right, well, let's assume that someone from the diner can verify you were there that morning, and let's also assume that Charles can corroborate that he did bring you dinner that evening. Is there anyone else that can account for your time, say, between the hours of 7:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. that day?
No, I don't think so.
There's no one at all?
No one I can think of.
All right, so just to make sure that I have this clear, you definitely did not go to Daniel's house at all the day that he was killed. Is that correct?
That's right.
So see, based on what I have so far, it seems to me that either Janice or Charles committed this murder. In fact, maybe the two of them even worked together. I don't know.
Why would you say that?
Well, because Emma, the two of them were both seen entering and leaving Daniel's house the same day that he was killed.
But that doesn't make any sense. I mean, neither of them would do something like that.
Emma, how can you be so sure of that?
Well, in Janice's case, she had no reason to do such a thing. She hardly even knew Daniel.
Right, but she knows you. And she knows what you've been through. I am sure that Janice can empathize with you. You don't think so?
Janice is on probation. She'd been through a really difficult and unfortunate situation. She served her time, and she has a good life now. You think she would screw all that up for some guy she hardly knows? Or for me, her neighbor?
Honestly, I don't know.
Well, she wouldn't.
All right, well then what about Charles? Because he was also seen entering Daniel's house that day. And we have already established that you are clearly someone important enough in his life to look out for. I mean, maybe he was, trying to care for you. Maybe, protect you.
Charles is not a killer. Does he care for me? Yes, and I care for him too. We've known each other for a really long time. But it's just not in his character to do something like that. He would never kill someone, or even think about doing something like that, for that matter. It's just not who he is.
All right, Emma, give me a second, okay? I will be right back.
Well, I don't think this is adding up at all. I feel like we must have some evidence that contradicts her statement. Can you look over everything and see if you can find a clear contradiction? That'll add a lot more weight when I go back in there. Give me a call when you got something. Thanks. Yes, that's it. Kinda hard to argue that Charles isn't capable
Trophy
of murder,
5 out of
or at least
16
thinking about it
unlocked.
when you have him on
Contradiction
video
1.
literally threatening to kill someone. That is good stuff. All right, let me show her this and see what sort of explanation she has. This is good. Thanks. All right, let me get back in there. Hang tight.
All right, this is another continuation with Emma Richardson. Now, Emma, you had told me earlier, and I'm paraphrasing here, but you said something along the lines of Charles not being capable of committing murder or even thinking about it. Does that ring a bell?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, I want you to do me a favor and turn your attention to the TV here. I want you to take a look at this.
Yeah, asshole. You're not getting away. I know what you did there, Mom. Look, I don't know what she told you, but I didn't lay a finger on her. Oh, shut up and cut that shit. I know you did. You already got to get out. Kid. I will fucking kill you. You understand me? No, whatever. I will end you. You got that? I will fucking end you.
So what do you think now?
I know how it looks, but surely you can see he's not being literal. Yes, he's angry and obviously trying to scare the shit out of Daniel. But to think he literally meant what he said, it's absolutely ludicrous.
Is it really?
It's a figure of speech. Obviously, Charles is not a murderer.
Emma, I am showing you clear proof right here that Charles threatened to kill Daniel. Now that absolutely makes him a suspect, and it shows clear intent. Now, I hear you when you say that you think Charles isn't a murderer. But Emma, what actual proof do you have that Charles did not kill Daniel? And I mean real proof, not just your thoughts and feelings.
I don't have any actual proof.
There you go. That right there is the problem. All right, that is a big problem that I need to get to the bottom of. So look, we are going to put a pause on this for now because I absolutely do need to speak to Charles again. All right?
Okay.
All right. I think we're making some progress here. Time will tell. You did a good job finding the right evidence. So now, let's see what Charles has to say. I'm going to get him back in here. I'll talk to you in a few.
All right, this is another continuation with Charles Humphries. So Charles, I want to revisit your relationship with Daniel.
I mean, sure, but like I told you before, there wasn't much of a relationship. I only met the guy a few times.
So when was the last time that you saw him?
Probably a few months ago, maybe? Honestly, I'm not sure.
So you didn't see him on September 11th?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I do remember that now. Yeah, I saw him that morning. That's right. I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
See, Charles, I don't know how you could forget that.
What do you mean?
Well, Charles, we have security cam video that shows you violently threatening him. In fact, Charles, we can take a look at that right now.
You don't need to show me that.
Well, Charles, I just want to refresh your memory, okay? Seeing as though that you forgot. So please, indulge me, okay? Take a look.
Yeah, asshole. You're not getting away. I'm not Okay, I know what you did there, Mom. Look, I don't know what she told you, but I didn't lay a finger on her. Oh, shut up and cut this shit. I know you did. We already got to get out, kid. I will fucking kill you. No, whatever.
So, Charles, is it coming back to you now?
Yeah.
Charles, you are seen here threatening Daniel's life, all right? Now, that is pretty damn serious, especially considering the fact that the man whose life that you threatened, well, he was found killed the very next day.
I know how it looks, but I swear that was just an empty threat. I didn't mean it literally. But I was pissed, man. He laid hands on Emma, and I wanted him to know that I wasn't going to put up with that shit, period.
So you had no intentions of actually following through with that threat?
No, I wasn't actually going to kill him. But yeah, if he hurt Emma again, I would have probably went there and kicked his ass. But no, I wasn't actually going to kill him.
Okay, fair enough. So let's talk about your other visit to Daniel's house, okay? The next day, the day that he was actually killed.
Yeah, sure. What more do you want to know?
Well, you went there to gather some of Emma's personal belongings based on her request, right?
Yes, that's right.
And I'm assuming that you were able to get everything that you were sent there to get. Is that also correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So when did you actually bring these items to Emma?
Later that night.
At the motel?
Yes, at the motel.
And you had also brought her dinner as well that evening, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So Charles, when you were actually inside of Daniel's house gathering these items, how long would you say that you were in there for?
It's pretty quick, maybe a minute at the most.
A minute at most? Really?
Well, I just went into the house and grabbed a bag that was right at the entryway and then left.
So you had no reason to look around the house at all?
No, not at all.
All right, Charles, well, let me process this, okay, for a little bit. So we'll take a short break and I will be right back, okay?
Okay.
All right, there are definitely some holes in this guy's story. I'm going to need you to find some concrete proof. Let's nail this guy hard, all right? Let me know what you can find. Thanks. Hey, there it is. There it is. Fantastic work.
Trophy
Good
6 out
eye.
of 16
Yes, he is
unlocked.
clearly
Contradiction
in the house
2.
for way longer than just a minute. And yeah, you're right. Emma stated that he only brought her food the night of Daniel's death. She made it pretty clear that he didn't bring her anything else. So why would he go through the trouble of getting her personal items and then not actually give them to her? That makes no sense at all. All right, let's get the show back up and running. We need answers. Talk soon. Bye.
All right, this is a continuation with Charles Humphreys. Now, Charles, I want you to take a look at this footage right here, okay?
What am I looking for exactly?
Well, you can clearly see that that's you at the front of Daniel's house, correct?
Yes, I can see that.
So can you look up there and tell me, what is the date?
It's September 12th,
Right, and the time? What does that say?
9:27 a.m.
So 9:27 a.m. All right. Now let's fast forward through this. We'll jump to about right about here. All right. Now, can we agree that this is you leaving Daniel's house that same morning?
Yes, it is.
So again, can you look up there and tell me the time? What does it say now?
It's 9:31 a.m.
So 9:31 a.m. Now see, Charles, you told me that you were in Daniel's house for no more than 1 minute. Okay, now I'm showing you the security cam video that shows that you were in there for about 3 to 4 minutes. Now, Charles, I can't understand why it would take 3 to 4 minutes to simply go inside of the house, grab a bag that's right there in the entryway, and then leave. So, Charles, can we cut the bullshit? All right, why did you go inside this house? And more importantly, what were you doing in this house? And this time, Charles, please, do not lie to me.
Look, I don't know if you're aware, but Daniel threatened Emma at gunpoint the day before he died. Now, obviously, this guy was unstable, but I didn't know he had a gun in the house.
So how did you find out about the gun?
Emma told me, and I was afraid Daniel was going to flip out again and actually use the gun to hurt him. So I decided to go over to the house and see if he was there. But when I got there, his car wasn't in the driveway. So I thought I could go in the house and find the gun and take it from him.
All right, so just to be clear, the reason that you went to the house was to find this gun.
That's right. And when I went in the house, I immediately went into their bedroom thinking that's where it would be. But instead, I find the guy lying there dead, and the gun is in his hand too. I panicked. I didn't know what to do. I remember they had the security cam out front, so that freaked me out, right? And I knew it was going to look bad, me coming in the house and this guy being dead. So I quickly kind of came up with this plan to grab some of Emma's stuff and put it in this bag, so it seemed like I had a reason to be there.
So this whole thing was just a performance for the security cam?
Yeah, I guess that's one way to put it.
Well, I guess that does make sense. Because see, Emma, she stated that the only thing that you brought her that evening was dinner.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's stupid and I'm sorry. But I didn't want to have any connection to this guy's death. I mean, the whole situation makes it look like I did it. Hell, I don't even know if you believe what I'm saying. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's the truth.
All right, so if your intent was to go there and to find this gun, then why do you look so confused when you first arrived?
Honestly, that's what I'm still confused about. Because I went to reach for the spare key, it wasn't there. So I thought I'd try the door anyway, and to my surprise, it was already unlocked.
So who do you think could have taken that spare key?
Honestly, I have no clue. I mean, I know it wasn't me, and it definitely wasn't Rebecca, because she has her own keys to the house, so I don't know. And I don't know why they would have left the door unlocked. That doesn't make any sense either. But what I do know is that it's obvious that somebody was there before me. They took the spare key, and they went through the front door.
All right. Well, Charles, we're going to give you a break, all right? You can step out of here for now, okay?
Okay.
Hey, I think that went well. It's quite a story, though. I'm still not sure who to believe at this point in time. That being said, he did hit the nail on the head. Someone was absolutely there before him, and we know exactly who that was. Now we got both Janice and Charles saying they arrived at the house that morning, and both claim they found Daniel already dead. Yeah, I am not too sure I buy that. Now, I can see Charles's possible motivation for killing Daniel, but Janice's is a little unclear. I mean, maybe she was triggered by seeing another woman she knew dealing with a similar type of abuse that she experienced? I don't know. Well, regardless, we gotta move forward. I want to hear more from Janice. I'll grab her now. We'll be back up in just a sec.
Okay, this is a continuation with Janice Burkes. So look, Janice, I just want to explore your relationship with Emma a bit more with you, if that's okay.
Sure. What more would you like to know?
Well, you mentioned having a positive relationship with her, so yeah, I just want to, get a better understanding of what that relationship looks like.
Well, like I told you before, Emma's always treated me nicely. And we talk from time to time so we get to know each other a little bit. She looks out for me, I look out for her. She's never judged me whatsoever, and I think that speaks a lot to her character. She's a very good person, and I'm really glad I got to know her.
Now, would you say that she trusts you?
To a certain extent, yes, I would say that.
Now, were you aware of the physical abuse that she had experienced? Did she trust you enough to share that information?
No. I knew they had some arguments. Sounded pretty bad, too. It was loud enough you could hear it next door.
Hi, today I am checking out case files behind closed doors. Trophy 3 out of 16 unlocked.
So you
Truth
were
Seeker
aware that
3.
they had some pretty bad
Trophy 4
arguments.
out of 16
Yes, I
unlocked.
was aware of
Truth
that.
Seeker 4.
But you were not aware of
Trophy
any
5
actual
out of 16
physical abuse.
unlocked. Contradiction 1. Trophy 6 out of
Now,
16 unlocked.
You
Contradiction
met Daniel
2.
a few times, so I'm wondering, do you think that he seems like the kind of guy that would be capable of physically striking a woman?
Like you just said, I only met him a few times, so I don't think I would be the best judge of his character.
Well, just in the limited interactions that you had with him, does he seem like the kind of guy that would be capable of physically striking a woman?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
All right, well, Janice, we are going to take a real short break. It'd be great if you can use this time to maybe think about your encounters with Daniel and see if you can maybe come up with a more concrete answer, because I would appreciate that.
Sure. But I don't know what else there is to think about.
Well, just try. That's all I'm asking.
Sure.
Well, thank you, Janice.
Well, she does seem to have all the right answers, doesn't she? But there's gotta be some flaws. It just all seems a bit too perfect. There's gotta be more to this than what she's telling us. All right, let's take some time here. Look through everything you got, see if there's any contradictory evidence we can use to prove this statement of hers is full of shit. Hopefully you can find something good. Give me a call when you got something, all right? Bye.
Barnett
there
plays
you go.
trophy 7 out of
That is
16
great.
unlocked.
Perfect.
Contradiction
I'll share what
3.
Emma said earlier in her previous statement. Good catch. Now, what she said definitely doesn't match up with Janice's presentation of the facts. I'll grab the text message records as well. There's no way Janice can argue with that. All right, let me grab what I need and get back in there. Thanks.
All right, this is another continuation with Janice Burkes. So, Janice, I want to make sure that I got this right. Now, you are not aware of any physical abuse that Emma has experienced. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Now, see, that is a problem. Because, see, Emma has stated the complete opposite.
What did Emma say?
Well, in her earlier statement, Emma said that you had texted her the night that her and Daniel had that pretty bad argument, the night that he had reportedly assaulted her. She said that you had texted her asking her if everything was okay. Now, does that ring any bells?
Well, yeah, that's correct, sir.
Now, she said that she had texted you back later that night telling you exactly what had happened. Does that also sound familiar to you?
Well, yes, that's also correct, but I don't remember if she told me that he'd actually physically assaulted her.
So you don't remember her texting you that detail?
No, not that I recall.
That's interesting. That is very, very interesting. So, Janice, look, I want you to take a look at these records right here. I want you to look at the message that's highlighted there. Now, that is a text message that Emma had sent to you the evening of September 9th. Now, she clearly texted, and I quote, "He threw me to the ground, hurt me pretty bad, at the hospital now." Now, there is no mixed messaging there. I find it very hard to believe that someone would forget such a major detail. Now, Janice, did you lie to me again?
No, sir. I just didn't recall.
You didn't recall?
Okay, I may have misstated the facts.
Janice, that is a very eloquent way of telling me that you lied. Now, Janice, why did you lie to me again?
Why did I lie? Again, sir, look at the optics. Someone with my background is seen entering the house the same day that Daniel's body is found shot to death. You know why I lied. And don't take this personally, but I don't trust law enforcement. I know I'm an easy target. I'm just doing the best I can to stay out of prison, sir. Look, you want to know what the truth is?
Yes, Janice, that is literally the only thing I want to know.
Good. Because the truth is that none of us would be in this mess if law enforcement had actually done their job and protected Emma when she first reported the abuse. She did all she could. She went to the police. She told them everything that Daniel had done to her. She even had her daughter as a witness. That man should already be locked up. That man physically assaulted her, and you guys let him go on his merry way. That's not okay. You know it, and I know it, that that's not okay.
Look, Janice, I hear you. Okay, I hear you. And yeah, maybe we could have handled things differently. I don't know. Okay, but regardless, we can't live in the past, right? I mean, all that we can do is to make sure that we do the right thing right now in this moment. That's literally all that we can do. So Janice, let me ask you again, okay? Were you aware that Daniel had physically assaulted Emma?
Yes, sir, I was aware.
And your only confirmation of this were the text messages between you and Emma, is that correct?
That and the fact that she went to the hospital with a dislocated elbow, not sure I'd need any more proof than that.
But you didn't actually see Daniel physically assault her, correct?
No. What kind of question is that? I mean, what man do you know is going to strike a woman in front of other people? Guys like that do their business behind closed doors. Trust me, I know.
Fair enough. Now, I am curious, and Janice, please be honest. Do you think that Daniel deserved to be killed for his actions?
No. Punished, yes, but not killed. Are we almost done, officer?
For now. Yes, for now. Now, I do need to get some other people in here, and then we'll see how it goes from there. But, yeah, Janice, you can step out of here for now, okay? Let's go.
All right, so we know for sure that Janice was aware of the physical abuse. We know she was the first person seen on camera entering the house, and we know that she and Emma have a relationship in which both of them look out for one another. Now, what we don't know for sure is if Daniel was indeed already dead by the time she entered the house. And at this moment, there really is no way to prove or disprove Daniel's status at that time. It's clear that these people are still lying to us. There's still too many holes and things that just make no sense. All right, let's get Rebecca back in here for another round. I got a few more questions for her. Hang tight.
All right, this is a continuation with Rebecca Humphries. So, Rebecca, I want to go back to the day of Daniel's death. Mm-hmm. Now, you said that you were at your dad's house the entire day that Daniel was killed. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And the only thing to corroborate this are these text messages between you and a coworker in which you asked them to cover your shift for that day. Is that also correct?
Yeah, that's also correct.
So see, the problem here is that those text messages do not necessarily prove that you were at your dad's house that day. In fact, all they prove is that you didn't go to work that day. Now, as to your exact whereabouts on that day, well, that is yet to be proven, right? All I've got to go on is your words. Now, would you say that that is a fair assessment?
Yeah, I guess. I can see where you're coming from, but at the same time, I don't really have any reason to lie either.
Now, that very well may be true, but my job is to question everything, okay? I can't base things off of just words alone. I need facts, right?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
So, is there anyone that may have seen you either enter or leave your dad's house on that day?
I don't know. I mean, there's not really a way for me to tell if somebody had seen me on that day. It's possible, but I don't know.
But your dad, he can account for your time later that day, right? In the evening?
Yeah, he can.
All right, so according to you, the only person who can account for your whereabouts on that day is your dad, but that's only in the evening. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. That is correct.
Rebecca, did you go to Daniel's house the day that he was killed?
No. I already told you I was at my dad's house the entire day.
I am aware that that's what you told me. But again, without any concrete proof, I can't just go based off of your words.
Do you have access to their security cam?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so is that not proof? The security cam has a sensor. Anytime anybody gets within a few feet of it, it triggers. So it's quite literally impossible to enter the house without being recorded. So are you able to check those recordings? Have you checked them?
Yes, we have gone through all of those recordings, yeah.
And did you see me enter the house?
As a matter of fact, no, we did not.
Well, then there you go. I don't know what more you want.
But see, Rebecca, you didn't necessarily need to go through the front door. You could have gone through the rear door. Now, to my knowledge, the rear entrance does not have any sort of security cam of any kind. So, in theory, you, or anyone else for that matter, could have gone through there. Isn't that a possibility?
No, actually it's not, no. The rear door is always kept locked, and on top of that, I don't have a house key. So whenever I need to enter the house, I use a spare key. And if I have to use the spare key, I have to go get it. In turn, I would trigger the security cam and I would be recorded. I'd be on those recordings.
Now, in regards to these recordings, I did notice that you guys have a keypad on that front door. So you don't have a code for that either?
No. That's been broken since I've moved in.
All right, so since you don't have a key and that rear door is always kept locked and that keypad is broken, then there would have been no way for you to enter that house on that day. Is that what you're telling me?
Not unless I use the spare key.
All right, fair enough. Okay, Rebecca, we are going to take a short break. You just wait here, all right? And I'll be back in just a few. All right.
Well, yet again, I feel like we're not getting the whole truth here. Her not having an alibi is definitely a red flag. I know we brought her in here as a witness, but I'm thinking we may have to bump her up to a suspect. The abuse she witnessed could be enough to give her a motive. Possibly. All right, let's see if you can work your magic and find some contradictory evidence here. I want to squeeze every ounce of truth out of her. You give me a call when you got something solid. Talk soon. Hey. Yes! I knew you'd find
Trophy
exactly what
8
we
out of
needed.
16 unlocked.
Now,
Contradiction
I do feel kind
4.
of silly not remembering the rear door being open, but that's why 2 sets of eyes are better than 1, right? Good stuff, good stuff. Right, with that photo and Charles's statement, we definitely have enough to back her into a corner. Let's see how she responds. We'll be live in just a few. All right, bye.
Okay, this is a continuation with Rebecca Humphries. Now, Rebecca, I know we discussed you not having a way of entering that house without being seen, but I do want to revisit that rear door possibility. So let's hypothetically say that if someone were to leave the rear door open for some rare reason, then in theory, you could have entered through that rear door completely undetected, right?
I guess in that very rare and specific scenario, it's possible. Sure.
All right, now I want you to take a look at this photo right here, and you tell me, what is it that you notice?
The rear door is left open? Is that what you want me to notice?
Correct. Now, this photo was taken from the crime scene, which means that someone left that door open. So this very rare and specific scenario is actually a fact. Now, we found that rear door unlocked and ajar. Okay, so now with this knowledge, it is safe to say that you could have entered through that rear door completely undetected, right?
I guess given what you've just shown me, yeah, sure, it's possible, but that's not what happened. I already told you I didn't go to the house that day, and I feel like I'm just repeating the same thing over and over.
And why should I believe you?
Look, am I a suspect here? Because you're treating me as if I actually had something to do with this.
No, Rebecca, I am treating you like someone who may have something to hide, because you have indeed hidden information from me. In fact, I might go so far to say that you have straight up lied to me, Rebecca.
What are you even talking about?
Look, when I talked to your dad earlier today, he told me that you have your own set of keys to Daniel's house. But then you told me that you don't have keys to Daniel's house. So you see, either you or your dad is lying to me.
Okay, yes, I do have keys to Daniel's house, but that doesn't mean that I was there.
Now, why did you lie to me? All right? Lying to me is only going to make things worse, and you know that.
I don't know. I guess I didn't want you to be suspicious of me.
Well, that obviously did not work out too well for you, did it?
No, it didn't.
All right, so now knowing that you do actually have keys to the house, it is safe to say that you could have entered through that rear door whether it was left open or not. Is that correct?
Yes, technically, that is correct. But look, I know that I lied to you about not having keys, but I swear I'm not lying about when I say that I didn't go to the house that day.
All right, well, let's assume that you are telling the truth, okay, and that you did not go to the house that day. Can you think of any reason as to why that door would have been left open, especially when you said that the rear door is never left unlocked? So why is it that on this specific day, that door was left open?
I don't know. Maybe Daniel left it open for some weird reason. That's all I can think of because I don't know. I honestly just don't know.
All right, Rebecca, let's put a pause on this conversation, okay? You can step out of here for now.
Sure.
Hey, so you think she's telling the whole truth now? I feel like we got more out of her, and maybe she's being honest, but I still don't know. We still don't have the complete picture, which means technically anything is possible. All right, we've made some good progress so far, but it's time to really grind this out and get to the bottom of this case. I want to bring all four of them back in here for one more round of questioning. The gloves are coming off this time. All right, let's get to it. I'll start with Janice. Let's see what more we can get out of her. I'll be back with her in just a sec. All right, bye.
This is a continuation with Janice Burkes. So, Janice, I just want to revisit our discussion regarding your relationship with Emma.
Sure.
Now, there seems to be a lot of trust between the two of you. It seems that she confides in you quite a bit. Would you agree with that?
That's correct, sir.
Now, see, I'm finding it hard to believe that that level of trust can be built between two people that are simply just neighbors, especially considering the fact that the two of you haven't even been neighbors for all that long. Hell, I've got neighbors on my street that I've seen for years, right? And I still don't know their names.
I don't know what to tell you, sir. Our relationship is what it is.
So are you this close with all of your neighbors?
No. I already told you what my relationship was like with most of my neighbors. They keep to themselves and I do the same.
But not with Emma?
No, because Emma actually treats me like a decent human being.
So would you say that you're somewhat of a protector as it pertains to Emma? I mean, you did mention that you look out for her, right?
Yes, I do look out for her, but I wouldn't go as far as saying I'm her protector. But yes, I do look out for her.
Now, Janice, we both know that you are capable of taking a human being's life. That's already been proven, right?
That was a really long time ago, sir. And you know why I did that, so don't you dare try to make it seem like I'm some sort of monster.
No, Janice, I don't think that you're a monster. Come on, I don't think that. But with your track record, your desire to look out for Emma, and your knowledge of the abuse that she experienced, I mean, one could easily say that you may have very well had a hand in this murder.
This is bullshit. I knew you would use my past as some sort of justification for killing this man. I gave you the benefit of the doubt, but I guess it's my fault for being so damn stupid. Look, I had nothing to do with that man's death. Yes, I entered the house the day he died, but I told you the truth on that. I found him and he was already dead.
So how do I know that you didn't kill him? Why should I believe someone that already has a proven track record for disregarding the law? Why should I believe you?
Look, the truth is, his dead body wasn't the only thing I saw when I entered the house.
What do you mean?
When I first entered the house, I saw someone fleeing through the backyard.
Wait, there was somebody else at the house?
Yes, sir.
All right, and then who was this person that you saw?
I don't know. It happened so fast, I only caught a glimpse of them.
Were you able to make out any sort of identification? Race, sex, body type, anything?
Not really. The only thing I can really remember is that it seemed like it was a man. The build, the way they were running, it definitely seemed like it was a man.
Okay, so you saw a male fleeing through the backyard.
That is correct, sir.
And that's the only thing that you know for sure?
That's all I can remember, sir.
All right, Janice, let's put a quick pause on this conversation.
Sure.
All right.
Well, things just got very interesting, didn't they? This is, of course, assuming she's telling the truth about seeing someone flee through the backyard. Now, it is consistent with the crime scene photos showing the back door slightly open. It would also give an explanation as to why it was left open. Maybe they were trying to get the heck out of there as fast as possible when they heard Janice come in. But again, this is assuming she's telling the truth. Even if she's being honest, it's pretty odd that she can positively state it was a male that she saw, but yet she can't make out any other details? Does that strike you as odd? Or maybe I'm overthinking it. What do you think? You think she's telling the truth about that? You think it was a man that she saw, or you think she's got something more that she's hiding? I'll head back in once I get your take on this. Let me know what you think, all right? Talk soon. Hey. So you think
Trophy
she's not
9
telling
out
the
of
whole
16
truth, huh?
unlocked. Truth Seeker
Can't
5.
argue with you there. I can't put my finger on it exactly, but she really didn't seem too authentic there. Looks like we both got that same read on her. All right, let me press her on this. We'll see if our instincts are correct. Let me head back in. Talk to you later. Bye.
All right, this is another continuation with Janice Burkes. So, Janice, you had just finished telling me that upon entering Daniel's house, the day of his death, you saw a man fleeing the crime scene through the backyard. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
And yet you fail to identify any other aspect of this person, but yet you can for sure say that this person was a man, correct?
That is correct, sir.
So, Janice, does that make sense?
I'm sorry, sir, does what make sense?
Well, that this whole thing happens as quickly as you say it does. You notice absolutely nothing about this person, but yet you can for sure say that they were a man. Does that make sense?
I mean, that's what I remember, sir. I can't control my memory.
All right, Janice, look, let's cut the shit. All right, none of this makes any sense. None of it. Now, Janice, we have already talked about obstruction of justice. Okay, I can charge you with that very easily if I find out that you are lying or hiding information from me. And Janice, let's not forget that you are also still on probation. Now, do you want to see yourself back in prison? Do you want to say goodbye to this nice life that you got going for yourself? Come on, Janice, don't be stupid. You tell me the truth. You tell me exactly what happened inside that house.
All right, look, sir. I may have misspoken, but for the most part, I really have told you the truth.
For the most part.
Look, I heard a gunshot. I rushed over to see if everything was okay. I used a spare key to enter the house. The first thing I saw when I entered the house was someone fleeing through the backyard. I honestly didn't make out anything about them. It happened so fast. And then I went into the bedroom, and that's when I saw Daniel lying there dead. He'd been shot, and it was clear that he was dead. I panicked, left the house, and honestly just wanted to pretend like I never saw anything. I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. I didn't want to get caught up in this whole mess. Surely you can understand that.
Yeah, Janice, I can understand that. Yeah. All right, so what you just told me, that is the absolute truth?
Yes, sir, that is the absolute truth.
So you can't say for sure that that person you saw is a man. That's what you lied about.
I truthfully couldn't tell you whether it was a man or a woman. It happened that fast.
So then why did you lie about that specifically?
Well, look, I didn't want you guys to think it was Emma. I can see why you think she might have something to do with this. And I didn't want to bring any more attention her way.
But since you have no idea who this person is, then it is possible that it could have been Emma.
I guess so, but I highly doubt it.
Well, look, Janice, no offense, but your doubts mean very little to me compared to facts. You know, I really should charge you with obstructing this investigation.
But I'm not obstructing anything. I've honestly told you everything that I know.
You are walking a slippery slope, Janice. A very slippery slope. All right. Well, besides Emma, do you have any idea who this person could have been? Could it have been Charles or maybe Rebecca?
I don't know, sir.
Are there any neighbors or acquaintances of Daniel's that you may be familiar with who he maybe had, I don't know, disagreements or arguments with, anything like that?
Not to my knowledge, sir.
So this really could have been anybody that you saw.
Yes, sir, that's right.
All right, well, Janice, is there anything else that you would like to add to your statement today? Anything at all?
No, officer, I have told you everything.
Well, for your sake, Janice, I really hope you have. All right, we are going to take a final break. Okay, we are almost done here today.
Okay, sir.
Well, if she's telling the truth, then that would mean we have someone else to account for. We need to know who was in that house before Janice. And at this point, it could literally be anybody. I don't think we're going to get anything else out of Janice, so we're just going to have to roll with what we got and go from there. And with this knowledge, I do want to hear from Rebecca again. I got some more questions for her. Let me grab her and get back in. Talk to you in a bit. Bye.
All right, this is a continuation with Rebecca Humphries. Now, Rebecca, some new information has come up, so we do need to revisit a few items and see if we can get some answers. Now, I have reason to believe that the morning of Daniel's death, somebody was seen fleeing the crime scene through the backyard.
Do you know who this person was?
Well, at the moment, no, I do not. But with the process of elimination, I'm sure that I can make a pretty decent educated guess. So let's look at the facts, okay? Now, with the security cam footage that we currently have, we know that both your dad, as well as your neighbor Janice, were seen entering and leaving the house that morning through the front door.
My dad and Janice?
That is correct. They were both seen entering the house that morning. Now, does that surprise you?
I mean, yeah, a little bit.
Well, to be honest, it surprises me too, actually. So see, now this means that the only two people whose time we cannot account for at all are both you and your mom. And since we know that that rear door was left open, well, it does make sense that, someone fled in such a hurry that they just didn't have time to shut it. Now, this also means that if this person entered and left through the back, well, then there would be no record of them. So you see, someone who is smart, who knows the layout, also knows that that front door has that security camera, well, they would simply go through the back completely undetected. And since we know that both you and your mom have keys to the house, well, then it is possible that the person that was seen fleeing was one of you two. Now, here's my guess. My guess is that either one of you or your mom, opened up that back door with your key, you entered, killed Daniel, and then you get startled when you hear someone at that front door. You flee in such a hurry that you have no time to properly shut and lock that door.
That's assuming if someone was actually seen fleeing. Have you ever, considered that maybe the person who told you that is lying?
Yes, of course, sure. But, see, in this scenario, it does give us an answer as to why the crime scene was found in the state that it was. And if we go off of this scenario, well, then I would have to assume that either you or your mom killed Daniel.
That's literally insane. That's ridiculous.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
So why don't you tell me? What do you think happened? Who was that person that was seen fleeing?
But first of all, we don't even know if somebody was actually seen fleeing. And even if there was, it quite literally could have been anybody.
Really? It could have been anybody?
Yeah, really anybody. Look, what I don't think you know is that Daniel was a pretty big drinker. Like, he would hit up the bars in town with his friends. And sometimes they would wind up back at the house late in the evening and they would just drink until morning. I mean, hell, he would even bring strangers home. Literally guys that he had met at the bars that night. Like, he loved to flash his cash around and just be the center of attention. So yeah, it really could have been anybody that killed Daniel and was seen fleeing. But that's if that's what really happened. And also, you're saying that because my mom and I have keys, then we're the ones who most likely entered through the back door? Have you ever considered that maybe Daniel or one of his friends left the back door open? I mean, you said that you have camera footage of my dad and Janice. Do you also have security cam footage of Daniel? Because if he entered through the front door that night, wouldn't he have triggered the camera too?
Well, as a matter of fact, no. We do not have any security cam footage of Daniel entering through the front door that evening. We don't.
Okay. Well, like, there you go. Probably entered through the back door, left it open, and just forgot about it. The back door being left open quite literally means nothing. And it certainly is not something that should be used to make it seem like my mom or I killed Daniel. That doesn't make any sense. That's insane.
Well, yeah, him going through the back is certainly possible. Okay, I can't argue with that. And to be honest, I was not aware of Daniel's drinking and social habits.
But I mean, not many people were. Like, he was really good at making it look like he was a good guy.
So if I were to go around town and check out some of these bars and talk to the employees, they would be able to corroborate all of this, right? I mean, seeing as though you make it seem like it's a regular occurrence.
I mean, yeah, of course.
Well, that is interesting. It's very, very interesting. All right, let's let this stew for a bit. All right, we'll take a short break, okay? You hang here and I'll be back in just a few.
Well, this just keeps getting better and better, doesn't it? This case is literally all over the place. It's hard to gauge whether she's telling the truth or not. And to be honest, with the amount of alcohol we found at the crime scene, it is possible that there was at least one other person drinking with him. And she's right. The security cam never triggered that night. There's no recording. It's very possible that Daniel was the one that left that rear door open. Regardless, we need to nail her on something here. My gut's telling me that she is not being completely honest with us. See what you can find and get back to me. There's gotta be something. All right. Thanks. Hey.
Trophy 10 out of 16 unlocked. Contradiction 5.
These statements definitely contradict and most likely debunk her whole story about his drinking, because either both Janice and Emma are lying, or only she is. The latter seems more likely. Let me get back in there and get some answers. Oh, good stuff. All right, talk soon. Bye.
This is a continuation with Rebecca Humphries. So, Rebecca, I want to explore your theory a bit more. Mm-hmm. Now, according to you, Daniel was a big drinker. And he had some people over, they got drunk, they partied till the morning hours, and then someone there shot him. and that's who was seen fleeing the crime scene. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, but again, that's only assuming if someone really was seen fleeing, which we don't know for sure, right? But yeah, it's a total possibility.
Well, see, I find it funny that you would know that he had been drinking that night because, well, it's the truth, actually. He had been drinking pretty excessively. But see, I never brought that up with you.
Well, you didn't really need to. I mean, like I said, it was a possibility and it was kind of his regular routine. So I'm not shocked.
Well, I guess what's odd about your theory of him drinking that night is that both your mom and your neighbor Janice had completely different things to say about his so-called regular behavior.
Like what?
Well, according to Janice, she stated that your household was pretty quiet most of the time. In fact, she could not recall any moments of any parties or any loud behavior, things that I would normally associate with a bunch of intoxicated people at odd hours of the night, especially if this was a regular occurrence.
Okay, and so you just believe her?
And why should I not believe her?
I don't know. But you're believing what she's saying at face value, and you're questioning me as if I'm the one who's lying here.
That's fair. That is fair. But see, I also have a contradictory statement from your mom as well. Now see, your mom, she stated that Daniel hardly ever drank. In fact, your mom could not remember the last time that she saw him have a drink. So what, is your mom also lying?
Okay, so maybe Daniel didn't drink all the time per se, okay? Okay, but listen, I swear I have seen him drink a few times while I've been living there, okay? And every single time, it was when he was really stressed and he would always get completely hammered. I mean, he was obviously in a very stressful situation, given the fact that my mom was filing a police report against him, and he was put on leave from his job. So it would make sense that he would be drinking and maybe invite some friends over, okay? Like, I don't know. It made sense.
So why did you exaggerate Daniel's drinking?
I don't know. I don't know. I guess I just wanted to make it clear that he wasn't Mr. Perfect like everybody thought he was.
Yeah, see, I still find it strange that you would assume that he had been drinking when even you have now, stated that he didn't even drink all that often.
I didn't assume. Like I said, it was a possibility. Given the situation, it made sense.
All right, so just to be very clear, your theory of Daniel drinking that night is simply just a theory. This isn't actual first-hand knowledge. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. It is just a possibility of what could have happened that night.
All right, well, I guess there isn't that much more to cover. So look, is there anything else that you need to tell me? Anything important you feel I should know?
No, not that I can think of.
You sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
All right, well, Rebecca, we are almost done for the day, okay? So I just need you to hang here at the station for a little while longer, all right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
All right, we'll give you a break for now. Thank you.
Well, her theory about Daniel drinking that night is a little too spot on. It doesn't necessarily mean she's lying, but I'm not sure we should take it at face value either. I think it's time we bring Emma back in here since she has no alibi for that morning either. We need to know if that person fleeing was her or not. Let me get her in here and see what I can do. Talk soon. Bye.
All right, this is a continuation with Emma Richardson. Now, look, Emma, we're just going to jump right into things here. We've been here for quite a while today, and I have listened to a lot of different statements, some truthful, some not so truthful. Either way, though, I am starting to come to some conclusions, but there are still some things that I do need to clear up, especially as it pertains to you.
Of course. That's why I'm here.
All right, well, first things first, I do want to acknowledge that we may not have handled your initial police report as best as we could have.
I'm glad you see it that way, too.
I do. But unfortunately, it does give you more of a reason to kill Daniel. Now, perhaps you took matters into your own hands because you didn't get the expected results from law enforcement. Now, is that maybe what happened?
We've already gone over this. The answer is absolutely not.
Look, Emma, if everything that you filed in that police report is accurate, all right, I want you to know that I understand that you were also a victim in this whole situation, okay? I understand that. But see, when I zoom out and I look at the bigger picture, I can't help but have my doubts that you weren't somehow involved.
I've already told you the truth. I was at that motel the entire day. I never got anywhere near that house the day Daniel was killed.
Yes, you have told me that. But see, without anyone that can corroborate your story, yeah, I do have my suspicions. Emma, you have the biggest motive and justification for killing Daniel. You really do. I mean, after what he supposedly did to you, and then you go to the police and then you see that nothing comes of it? Yes, I can see why you would take matters into your own hands, okay? I would understand that. Hell, a lot of people in your situation would do the exact same thing, Emma.
He didn't supposedly do anything to me. He assaulted me, and then he threatened to kill me. Those aren't supposed theories. Those are facts. They actually happened. So please be more respectful with how you choose your words, because how you're framing it right now is not okay.
You're right. You're right. And I am sorry. That was a very poor choice of words on my part. I am sorry. But look, it still does not change the fact that you benefit the most from Daniel's death, now does it?
I'm not going to answer that. We've already been through this. And my answer isn't going to change no matter how many different ways you ask me that question.
So, despite the fact that you have such a clear and strong motive, I'm just supposed to ignore the fact that you don't have an alibi? I'm just simply supposed to take the word of the person who benefits the most in this situation when they have absolutely nothing to prove that they weren't somehow involved? And let's also look at the fact that you were the one best suited to avoid that front security camera, right? You know it's there, and you know how it triggers its recordings. Emma, you could have easily gone around the back, killed Daniel, and then left. I mean, what is there to say that that did not happen?
Because it didn't. Okay. Why is it so hard for you to believe the truth? Why is it so hard?
Emma, because I don't know the truth. Okay, that's why. And until I know the truth, yes, I am absolutely going to question everything. And right now, you are telling me that I should believe you because you say it's the truth? Well, look, Emma, I have got news for you. Everybody that sits in that chair seems to always be telling me the truth. And I mean always. I literally get nothing but the truth until it isn't.
Look, I can understand from your perspective why you would doubt what I'm telling you. But I swear, I was at that motel the entire day. I only left early to grab breakfast. That was it. Look, I know there's nothing that can prove that I was at that motel, but there's also nothing that can prove that I wasn't. And I am telling you the truth. I swear.
All right, Emma, you know what? You are right. We are just going around in circles here. So, look, we are going to take a quick break, all right?
Okay. Do I have to stay here?
Yes, you do, please.
Well, I'm not too sure I made any progress just now. The main thing that we got to assess here is whether or not we think she's telling the truth about being at the motel that day. Because she's right. We have nothing to prove she was there or not. All we have is her word. This one's a pure judgment call, and honestly, I'm not sure. Once again, I'm going to trust you on this. Look things over and let me know what you think. But take your time and make sure you get this right. I have a feeling that moving forward, a lot is going to be based on how we play this. All right, call me when you made up your mind. Bye. Hey.
Trophy 11
Okay,
out of
you're feeling
16
like she's being
unlocked.
honest.
Truth Seeker 6.
Fair enough. Like I said, I wasn't too sure myself, but I can see where you're coming from. All right, cool. Let's get back to it. Talk soon.
Trophy 12 out of 16 unlocked. Ace Detective.
This is a continuation with Emma Richardson. Look, Emma, I want you to know that I believe you. Okay? I believe that you were at the motel, and I believe that you didn't go anywhere near Daniel's house the day that he was killed.
Oh, good, because it's the truth.
Of course. But now we do have to take your words into consideration as we try to piece this whole thing together. So what I want to do is I want to look at the facts. All right? Now, we have video footage of both Charles and Janice seen entering and leaving Daniel's house the day that he was killed. Right? Now, that obviously makes it very possible for them to have killed Daniel. But as you had mentioned, you don't think that's a possibility because, as you said, that's not the type of people that they are. Now, I don't know either of them, or I don't at least know them well, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Okay, let's assume that you're right. So now, if you're right, that means that we can remove the two of them as suspects. And based on what you told me regarding your whereabouts the day that he was killed, well, then that means we can also remove you as a suspect. So using the basic process of elimination, and again, based on what you've been telling me, well, it seems pretty clear that Rebecca must have killed him.
No, Rebecca had nothing to do with this.
All right, let's try to look at this objectively, okay? Because, see, after interviewing Rebecca, there were two things that really stood out to me.
Such as?
Well, for one, she seemed to know that Daniel had been drinking excessively that night. Now, I can't for the life of me understand how she could possibly know that unless she had seen it with her own two eyes. And secondly, she seemed really set on exaggerating Daniel's drinking habits, which directly contradicts what you had told me earlier about him not drinking much at all. In fact, you told me that you couldn't even remember the last time that you saw that man have a drink. But you see, according to Rebecca, he did drink every now and then. And that's why she assumed that he had been drinking that night. So you see, with such blatant contradictions, it is clear that somebody is lying to me.
Look, I may have been mistaken. I mean, he did drink every now and then. I mean, I shouldn't have said that he never drank because it wasn't actually the truth.
So you lied to me.
No, I was mistaken. Are you aware how stressful this is?
Yes, Emma, of course I am.
Then you should understand it's not easy to think clearly under these circumstances.
Okay, so Rebecca is telling the truth. So he did drink every now and then? Is that what you are now saying?
Yes, and sometimes it was quite excessively. It didn't happen often, but He did drink on occasion.
So what was his drink of choice? On these occasions that he decided to get his drink on, what is it that he would drink?
He didn't have a favorite drink or anything like that. It was just whatever he felt like in the moment, I guess.
All right, well, assuming that you were telling the truth, that still changes absolutely nothing regarding Rebecca, because she's the only person whose time is completely unaccounted for. And let me tell you, Janice had stated that when she entered the house that morning, she saw someone fleeing out the backyard. And you see, Rebecca, right, just like you, she knows that the front door has a security camera, and she also has access to the rear door. So you see, Emma, she could have planned this whole thing perfectly.
But that's not what happened. I can assure you that's not what happened.
You can assure me. Okay, well then, Emma, please, go ahead, assure me. Look, Emma, somebody is getting charged with murder. Okay, that is a fact. So if you have something to say, you better say it now. Emma, either you are lying to me, and you did go to the house that day, or Rebecca is lying to me, and she went to the house that day.
Maybe neither of us is lying.
So then who was seen fleeing out the back, huh? Who could that have been?
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't either of us. Did you think about that?
Emma, there is absolutely nothing that supports any other persons of interest besides you, Rebecca, Charles, and Janice. So yes, of course I have thought about that. And Emma, no, it doesn't add up.
Look, I don't know what more you want me to say. It's like you're intentionally backing me into a corner. I'm done. I'm not going to answer any more of your questions. And now I'm requesting the opportunity to speak with an attorney, so I'm not going to answer any more of your questions.
So now you want an attorney?
Yes, I'm done.
So that's it? All right, well then I guess we're done.
Okay, can I go home now?
You can go home soon. Look, you don't have to answer any more questions, but if you can just please stay while I wrap up the rest of my interviews, because look, I'm almost done. If you can do that for me, I would appreciate that.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
Well, shit. I guess that's all we're going to get out of her, huh? I still don't think she's being completely honest with me. And did you see how she backpedaled on Daniel's drinking? As soon as we start to really get some pressure going, that's when she decides to lawyer up? Really? Well, I guess we're going to have to take what we've gotten from her so far and go from there, huh? All right, look, let's get Charles back in here and hope he's still willing to talk. I need to know what he has to say about all this. Give me a sec while I go grab him. All right. Bye.
Okay, this is a continuation with Charles Humphries. Now, Charles, I know that you've been here for quite a while today, so I'm going to do my best to get right to the point, all right?
Great, I appreciate that.
Of course. Now, after reviewing everything so far, it really does seem that either Rebecca or Emma may have had some involvement with Daniel's death.
There's no way. And I don't care how you came to that conclusion. I'm telling you, there's absolutely no way that either one of them did this.
Now, Charles, I can completely understand why you would feel like that, okay? I really do. But we have to look at the facts, Charles. Now, as of right now, Rebecca and Emma are the only two people whose time is completely unaccounted for. They're also both very aware that that front door has a security camera, which could have recorded them. They also have keys to the house, so they could have entered through that rear door. But most importantly, Charles, they both have a motive.
What possibly could be Rebecca's motive?
Charles, Rebecca is aware of the abuse that her mom has experienced, okay? She went to the hospital. She saw firsthand just how badly this man hurt her own mother. Now, do you think that she wanted to see that happen again? No, of course not. So, what is the best way to make sure that that man never lays a finger on her mother again? Well, simply end his life. Problem solved.
That's ridiculous. That's your motive? Heck, you might as well consider me the one that killed him. I mean, I care about Emma. You know, I never wanted to see her get hurt like that again, and I would have done anything to protect her. So what, does that make me a killer too?
Well, possibly.
Oh my God, wow. Rebecca has her whole life in front of her. You think she's going to throw that away? And let's remember, she went with Emma to file the police report. She literally encouraged her to do so. She was trying to handle everything the right way. So your motive makes no sense whatsoever.
Well, Charles, you might be right, okay? You might. Okay, maybe Rebecca has nothing to do with this. But what about Emma? All right, let's take another look at her. Now, she's a mom. She seems to be a really good person who seems to care a lot about her daughter. Now, we know that Daniel not only threatened to kill Emma, but he also threatened to kill Rebecca. Okay, now you're a parent. Wouldn't you want to protect your child in a situation like that?
I mean, of course I would. I mean, she's my daughter too. So I'm in the same exact situation as Emma. But I'm not going to kill someone.
Well, Charles, maybe not. Okay, but the difference between you and Emma is that at least your time is somewhat accounted for because we have you on video. But let's say that Emma did not kill Daniel. All right? Well, then we got to go back to Rebecca. And if Emma, or even you for that matter, knew that Rebecca had killed Daniel, well, wouldn't you do your absolute best to protect her? Wouldn't you lie and do everything that you could to cover it up?
No, I wouldn't, and neither would Emma.
Come on, Charles. I find that very hard to believe, man.
Look, I mean, you spent time with both Rebecca and Emma today, asking them all sorts of questions. I mean, you're a detective. After spending all that time with them, do you think either one of them is capable of murder? I mean, do you believe that?
Truthfully, Charles, I don't know.
Well, regardless of what you think, the answer is no. It's a 100% no.
Well, Charles, since you seem to be so adamant about it not being Rebecca or Emma, why don't you tell me, what do you think happened?
I already told you what I think.
Well, Charles, please, refresh my memory.
I brought it up earlier today, and you seemed pretty dismissive of it then. But I still think this guy might have taken his own life. Maybe there is no actual murder.
And you believe that?
Yes, I do. I mean, he was under a lot of stress, and we know he wasn't the most mentally stable person. I mean, look what he did to Emma. Like, no sane person reacts that way. And Emma also told me he was put on leave by his firm. I mean, I'm pretty sure that whole job was his identity. That's got to be devastating. Maybe this was all too much for him to handle. And honestly, the more I think about it, the more I believe suicide is exactly what happened.
Okay, Charles, fair enough.
Now, another possibility, as much as I hate to say it, is Janice may have been involved.
And why would you say that?
Look, we both know about her past. I mean, she's already killed one guy that was an abuser. And I don't want to throw any suspicion her way, but I got to be honest. The few times that I did meet her, something seemed off. I mean, her attitude towards me seemed pretty off-putting, especially considering she hardly even knew me. I mean, it's like instinctually she had something against me because I'm a man. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's what it felt like.
So, Charles, how did you get to know Janice?
Emma talked to me mostly about her. Like I said, I met her a few times in person, but we didn't chat much, mostly because she just seemed bothered by my presence. Like I said, she just seemed off.
So, Charles, is this pure speculation? Because it seems like it might be a bit more than that.
I don't know. All I'm saying is you shouldn't be so quick to dismiss Janice.
All right, well, Charles, that is noted. Look, we're going to take a short break, all right? I want to mull this over, okay?
All right.
All right.
Okay, he's being real defensive of Rebecca and Emma. But I honestly can't blame him. I do have to admit, I can't picture either Rebecca or Emma being capable of taking someone's life. But as I told him earlier, crazier things have happened for sure. And what do you think about his Janice theory? He seems pretty convinced that Janice may have been involved. But why bring it up now? Is it to protect himself and his family? Or is there actually some legitimacy to his theory? Well, either way, let's see if we can trip him up. To be honest, I'm pretty drained. All these interviews today are starting to blur together. Work your magic one last time. See if you can find any evidence that pokes holes in his statement. I know we gotta have something. All right, give me a call when you got something. Talk soon. Hey.
Trophy 13 out of 16 unlocked. Contradiction
I feel like
6.
an idiot. Now that you point these things out, it's pretty obvious. I really can't believe I spaced on the autopsy report. Like I said, I'm pretty wiped. I'm definitely not at 100%. Good thing I got you working with me though, right? Look, I know I've said this before, but I really do appreciate you. I mean that. You know, I gotta say, we're a pretty damn good team. Alright, let me get back to it. Bye.
Trophy 14 out of 16 unlocked. Hold it.
All right, this is a continuation with Charles Humphreys. Now, Charles, I want to dig right back into this, all right? I want to go over a few things that you had stated earlier, okay?
Sure.
Now, I want to revisit this theory of a possible suicide. Now, that has been mentioned a few times today, and I'm realizing that I've only shared secondhand information. So, Charles, I want you to take a look at this, all right? Now, that is an official copy of the autopsy report. Now, I want you to look at the section labeled Final Diagnosis, right there. Now, you'll see there that it states that suicide is considered highly unlikely.
Okay, so maybe it wasn't a suicide. I'm still not 100% convinced, though.
Well, to be fair, Charles, you are not the person that needs to be convinced. Now, regardless, let's move on to your other theory, okay? And that being Janice and her possible involvement. Now, I have to admit, I did have some similar thoughts to you when I spoke with Janice earlier today. Now, I didn't get, any weird vibes or anything like that, but her past certainly does not do her any favors, especially in this situation. And then after hearing you mention the way that she acted when the two of you met, well, yeah, that did raise my suspicions a bit more. But see, Charles, there is a problem here.
And that is?
Well, see, according to Janice, the two of you never actually met. In fact, she claims that she doesn't know anything about you.
And you believe her?
Charles, I don't know what to believe, all right? But her statement does seem to contradict yours, so someone is lying to me. Now, she also stated that she saw someone flee the house through the back door at the exact same time that she entered the house.
So she was the person that entered the house before me, and that's why the door was unlocked?
That is correct.
Well, who did she see?
Well, see, that's the thing, all right? She wasn't able to make out who that person was, so unfortunately, that part is still a mystery. Now, Charles, there is one other thing to note here, all right? Somehow, Rebecca seemed to know that Daniel had been drinking very heavily that day, all right? Now, that is not typical behavior for Daniel, okay? At least based on what I've gathered so far. Now, she did say that this was just an assumption, all right? But I gotta say, that assumption was pretty damn accurate. I mean, hell, you were there, right? You saw all that booze. So, what do you think? Do you still believe in this Janice theory?
Yes, I do. Even more so now. I think she played you big time.
Really? And why would you say that?
Look, as you just mentioned, Janice went in the house before me. I mean, she could literally say anything she wants to clear her name. There are no witnesses. I mean, she could be lying about seeing someone flee. I mean, what proof do you have that any of this actually happened? What, Janice's word? Do you think a convicted murderer is going to tell the truth? Of course not. They're going to lie about everything. I mean, why in the world would you believe anything that she has to say? I mean, what has she done to earn your trust?
Well, honestly, nothing. But if she did kill Daniel, then why are her prints not on that gun?
She could have easily wiped the gun down and placed it in Daniel's hand. I mean, did you find anybody else's prints on the gun?
No, we did not.
Well, there you go.
All right, your theory about Janice is certainly a possibility, okay? Maybe she is lying. But see, if we go with that, then we really do need to explore all possibilities, Charles, and that includes you.
You already know that Janice went in the house before me, and you know that I have absolutely nothing to do with this.
Do I really know that, though?
Yes, you do.
See, Charles, I don't know. Okay, I don't know, because we are both aware that you are very capable of putting on a very good performance.
What are you talking about?
Charles, I am talking about that little performance that you put on for the security camera, in which you tried to make it seem like the reason that you were at Daniel's house was because you were there to pick up some of Emma's belongings. Now, what is there to say that you weren't the one that entered through the back door? I mean, you could have easily gotten the keys from either Emma or Rebecca, right? You go inside the house, okay? You kill Daniel. You're the one that wipes down that gun. You put the gun in Daniel's hand to try to make it seem like a suicide, and then that's when you hear someone at that front door. Now, in a panicked state, you flee, okay? And you're in such a rush that you forget to shut that back door. Now, here's the good part. You later come back to the house, all right? You come back to make it seem like you were there for a completely different reason. Now, you know that that front door has the security camera and it's going to record you, which is great for you because now we can account for your time. So you enter the house, you come back out with some of Emma's belongings, hence making it seem like that was the reason for your visit. So yeah, Charles, maybe you are right. Maybe Emma and Rebecca have nothing to do with this. Maybe they are simply trying to protect you. So what do you think about that theory, Charles?
I think you have an incredible imagination. And I think you'll make up whatever shit you have to close this case. That's what I think. But I am done cooperating with you. I'll speak to you again when I have an attorney. But for now, we're done.
Charles, did you kill Daniel?
No, and I told you we're done.
All right. Well, look, Charles, you don't have to answer any more questions today, okay? But you do need to stay at the station for just a little while longer, right? Now, we are almost done, and then you can go home, all right?
Whatever, that's fine.
All right.
Okay, that went somewhat well, I guess. But now we got both he and Emma wanting to lawyer up. I think we're at the end of our rope here. We need to make a decision. There is a lot to consider here. Many possibilities of what could have happened, but ultimately, there is only one chain of events that's correct. You've got plenty of evidence and footage to steer you in the right direction. I trust you to put the pieces together. But let's make sure we get this right. First, I want you to look things over carefully and let me know who you think committed this murder. Once we've nailed that down, we can discuss things further. All right. Take your time and get back to me. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hey.
Trophy
Okay, so you
15
think
out of
Rebecca
16
killed Daniel, huh?
unlocked. Case closed.
You know, I actually think you hit the nail on the head here. I do trust your judgment. And even though she doesn't seem like she has it in her, it really does seem that she's the one that killed him. Now, I know you looked everything over carefully, so I'm sure you have a fairly decent picture of what actually happened, even if there are a few holes that still need to be filled. But listen, what I'm about to say stays between you and me, okay? Considering everything that went down with her mom and Daniel, and the reasons Rebecca would have for killing him, it's still most likely murder. She may be able to get out of this in court, but she could very well end up in prison for a very long time. And honestly, I'm not sure that she deserves that. Her life could be ruined at such a young age. Now, what I'm about to say can get us in some pretty deep shit. Maybe even fired. But I can always claim that we didn't find enough probable cause to make an arrest. We can let her go home. And if we're pushed to continue the investigation later, well, then we'll deal with it at that time. But for now, we can let her go. I'm really not sure what to do here. This whole situation is just really complicated. Now, your decision-making has been great so far, so I'll follow your lead on this one as well. Think things over. Give me a call back and let me know if you want to move forward with charging Rebecca, or if you want me to let her go. I'm willing to accept responsibility for our actions, regardless of what we do. Just be prepared to do the same. All right, talk to you soon.
Trophy 16 out of 16 unlocked. Perfectionist, Platinum Trophy unlocked.
Hey. Okay, let's charge Rebecca. I'm with you. Like I said earlier, I think you hit the nail on the head here. All the evidence really does point to her. It's just unfortunate that she's gone and screwed up her life at such a young age. But I guess actions do have consequences, right? Look, I'm sure this was a hard decision to make. I respect your judgment. Sometimes we just gotta do what's right, no matter the circumstance. I get it. All right, let me grab Rebecca and formally charge her. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
All right, this is a continuation with Rebecca Humphries. So look, Rebecca, after reviewing all of the evidence and the statements made today, I am officially charging you with the murder of Daniel Murphy. Now, Rebecca, did you hear what I just said to you?
Yeah, I heard you. Yeah.
So is there anything else that you would like to add to your statement today before we take you into custody?
I didn't mean to kill him. I didn't mean to kill him. It was an accident.
So Rebecca, I don't understand what do you mean by you didn't mean to kill him? Oh, come on, Rebecca, no more games, no more lies, all right? Just tell me exactly what happened, please.
Okay. Me and my dad were driving back to his house the night that Daniel threatened to kill me and my mom. I told my dad I wasn't comfortable with him having a gun inside the house because I thought he was going to do something stupid and try and kill me or my mom, kill both of us. So I told my dad that I wanted to go to the house in the morning and check if Daniel was there. And if he wasn't, I wanted to go inside the house and try and find the gun and take it. Obviously, my dad was not okay with that idea, and he told me not to do it, and I told him that I wouldn't do it. I told him I wouldn't go.
But you didn't listen to your dad, and you went there anyways.
Yeah. I went back the next morning, kind of early. I think it was like between 8:30 and 9. I was just checking to see if he was there. And when I checked, his car wasn't in the driveway like it usually was. So I thought, okay, this is the perfect opportunity. And I didn't want to be seen on the front security camera. So I went through the back. Like I said, I thought he wasn't home, but to my surprise, he was. He was passed out on the living room couch. There was alcohol everywhere. But the gun was sitting right there on the coffee table. So I went to grab the gun. And when I grabbed the gun, that's when he woke up. And it happened, everything happened really fast. He got up, he charged at me, he was grabbing me, he was trying to grab the gun. And somehow, we just ended up in the bedroom. And we struggled for a few seconds, and the gun went off. And he dropped, and he stopped moving. And that was it. That's what happened.
And then you placed the gun in his hand to try and pass it off as a suicide. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I did. I tried to make it look that way.
And I'm assuming that you wiped down the gun to remove the fingerprints. Is that correct?
Yeah. I used my shirt the best that I could. And before that, I tried to put things back that had fallen during our struggle because I didn't want it to look like anybody else was in the house that day. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know if it was going to work. I was scared. And as I was putting the gun in his hand, I heard the front door open. I didn't know who it was. I thought maybe it was my dad and that maybe he had come to try and find the gun and take it instead of me, but I honestly didn't know who it was. So I left. I left as fast as I could, and I went out through the back door, and that's why the back door was left open. I didn't have time to shut it. I was scared.
So did you tell your parents about all this?
No, I haven't told anybody. You're the only person who knows, and it was an accident. It was a genuine mistake. I didn't mean to do any of this. I didn't mean to shoot him.
Well, look, I am sorry for everything that you had to go through, okay? I really am. Now, the unfortunate truth is that I do have a job that I have to do, okay? And that means that we do have to take you into custody. Now, you will be able to, explain all of this in court, and I do hope that things will actually, go your way. I do. All right, but for now, yeah, I need you to stand up, all right? I need you to stand up for me, okay? I need you to turn around, okay? I need you to put your hands directly behind your back, all right? You stay just like that, Rebecca. All right, you can sit down.
I didn't mean to do this. I'm sorry. It was an accident. And you have to believe me when I say that.
I know. Now, I am going to go get some officers, okay? And they will be able to escort you out of here properly, all right? All right.
Well, it looks like we successfully solved this case, huh? Great job. All your hard work today really paid off. But wow, if she was telling the truth just now, then what happened to her is pretty screwed up, and sadly something she's going to have to live with for the rest of her life. But again, that's if she was actually telling the truth. Was it self-defense? I have no idea. The only person that knows that for sure is Rebecca herself. But what we do know is that she is the one that pulled the trigger that killed Daniel Murphy. The rest is up to the courts to decide. Again, great job. Thank you. All right. Until next time, my friend. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
I will end the stream after the credits finish.
Hey. Okay. I'm with you on this one. We'll let Rebecca go and not charge anyone. I'm sure this was a tough call to make, but I respect your decision here. She was clearly trying to protect herself and her mom. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't agree with her methods at all. But in this type of situation, yeah, I do understand. She's also got her whole life in front of her. Why ruin her life at such a young age, right? All right, I guess that's it then. Let me inform them all that they can go home. I'll do one last formal recording in the interview room to document this, and then we'll call it a wrap. All right, let me take care of these things, and we'll talk one last time before you head home. Okay? Bye for now.
This is Detective Martin Ruiz, badge number 7621. This recording is for documentation purposes. Today's interviews were part of the Daniel Murphy investigation. After reviewing all evidence, as well as all statements made today, I have found that there is not enough probable cause to bring forth any charges. As such, all interviewees have been released for the time being. I'm going to send this case over to the district attorney's office and let them take it from there. This concludes today's interviews.
All right. Well, I guess that's that. Look, I know you know this, but it needs to be repeated. This decision, it stays between us. Seriously. If word gets out about what we just did, we are absolutely fucked. And I'll be straight with you. I'm not sure we made the right decision here. But I'm also not sure it's the wrong decision either. Regardless, the decision has been made. I got your back and I know you got mine. Let's keep it that way. Thanks for all the hard work you put in today. I appreciate you, my friend, I really do. Until next time, okay? You take care. Bye.
Please like, comment, and subscribe for future content. See you later.